So I was just working on a little cat scratcher project, and I kind of had this recollection of something on Instagram that I was scrolling by one of those days. You know how we all waste our time on Instagram, but this wasn't a waste of time. I remember seeing somebody make a router jig out of a screwdriver, a couple of bolts, springs, and a piece of board, and I wanted to see if we could make it happen ourselves. So I springed into action. No pun intended. Now, a good general never goes into war without a plan. And a half builder never goes into a project without a half drawing on a whiteboard. But first thing I'm going to do is cut out two symmetrical boards out of that. I'm thinking 5x5. I know I've kind of got it drawn up as a rectangular shape, but I think I'm going to make it square. No really reason, so do it how you want. And once we have those boards cut out, I'm going to clamp them together and drill out the guide holes. Now we're going to make the hole that will hold the drill and decide whether or not we're going to have to clamp it or hose clamp it, or if it's just tight enough that we can have it fit by friction. Let's find out. Well, we've got our rig rigged up for the most part, but let's just see if this is controllable in any way, because traditionally a router comes with two external handles that are on the base of the router, which gives you the most control as you're moving it along, whatever you're moving it along. You're not here to listen to me talk, you're here to listen to me break something. This might not work. Okay, did a little bit of fine tuning. We've got this thing set to drill, which is the highest RPM this drill is capable of. We've got it set so it's at a really low, I mean a minimal amount of cutting. So let's see if it works this time. And this isn't even trying to cut a straight channel, we're just trying to cut any kind of channel. Kind of dug a hole a bit. The bottom of these bolts I thought might help act as a guide or a float, a smooth area to move around, but it also, you have to take into account when you're setting the height of it. Oh, so I should be setting it tighter, not looser. You also have to not be dumb, which I am failing at the moment. This might not work. There is a saying called, there's a right tool for every job. Or there's a tool for every job. Or there's always some tool at your job. Alright, I'm starting to get some mediocre results out of this. I have about a 2-inch channel that I've got pretty well cut straight. You have to really, starting from the edge with this thing, doesn't work like a normal router can. So you have to really just dig the hole with the router, and then you can start moving it as if it was a channel. So I'm going to try that for the last time, because I think this experiment was a bit of a failure. And it fell out of the hose clamp. Alright. Now let's try that again. I'm going to try and cut a channel. I'm just going to try and see how far we can cut a channel. Can it do it? Yes, it can. Okay, well, we're not getting very reliable or clean cuts channels with this rig, and I want to get a baseline just how well we could do this with just the drill, the bit, and let's put some protective safety glasses on. And now that we're properly safe, let's just try to do this by hand as a baseline for science. Interesting. Okay, this jig actually... Come look at this. Honestly, I was really hoping when this idea came along my Instagram feed that it would work really well. You know, routers are kind of expensive, but the part of me that doubted, knowing, you know, how routers work, that doubted that this would be able to do it, is because routers have pretty big motors compared to drills. Now, if you wanted to use a lot smaller of a router bit, and you wanted to do a very small project where you weren't using your drill for very long, you could absolutely rig this thing up, and when you come down and look at what we did here, by hand versus the two successful cuts, it's pretty good at keeping it straight up and down. There's a little bit of a rearward pivot I can see, just kind of that the bit digs a bit more forward. Even when it's in the rig, I'm gonna guess there's a bit of a tilt in the blade, but by hand is just truly ugly. I gotta say, it's a cool little project. Does it work? Kinda. Not pretty. You wouldn't want to use it on something like trimming, but if you were just needing a rough channel cut into something, yeah. I mean, I'd probably just go buy a Dremel, but you know, that's why we do these little experiments. It's fun to test yourself. It's fun to make little projects, whether or not they work or don't. And I kind of just made this because I saw it on Instagram and wondered if I could make it, and I wondered if it would work. And I think I made it. I don't think it works, but yeah, thanks for coming along. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see more silly stuff like this. It's some guy outside, _outside. Yeah, put out a new video every week or so. So, if some guy can do it, what are you still doing here? It's over. Go home.